Welcome back, folks. And y'all already know what time it is, man. So, Curt, let's get it kicked off the right way.
Man, y'all know how we get down on Thursdays. We do a game preview. And let's see how both teams measure up against one another on paper and look at the embedded information before I kick it to Ella and Coach Jones for their keys to victory on offense and defense. So let's look at these team stats. You got points per game. The Lions at 25, the Jaguars at 22.2. Points allowed, 21 for the Jaguars, 28 for the Lions. But that's a lot of that's got to do with earlier in the season. You know what I'm saying? We gave a lot of points that, earlier in the season, But total yards, 371 for them per game, 373 for the Lions. So it's pretty even. Passing, 241 for the Jags, 244 for the Lions. Rushing yards, 130 for the Jaguars, 129 for the. You see this thing is setting up a pretty even matchup, 129. And here's what a little difference is, and it's, like I said, I think it has a lot to do with the beginning of the year. Yards allowed, 372 for the Jaguars, 426 for the Lions, and that had a lot to do with our performances of the lack of defense early in the season. Passing yards allowed, 257 for the Jaguars, 271 for the Lions. Rushing yards allowed, 114 for the Jaguars and 154.6 for the Detroit Lions. Let's look at the betting information for this game. This flip-flop, the Lions opened at 1-point favorites, and now they're 1-point underdogs at home. The over-under has not changed. It's 51.5 points. So they predicting a shootout. Now, here's the craziness. Here is the craziness. The betting line is negative for both teams. So both teams are like the underdog. That means it's minus 115 for the Jags and minus 105 for the Detroit Lions, which means what? If you bet $100, you'll get 115 if the Jaguars win. If you bet on the Lions, you get 105 if the Lions win. Like, this is what you would call a even matchup. 1 point is even. That's an even draw. You're looking at the stats. You're looking at what the teams can produce on offense, what they do on defense. This is pretty much an even draw as far as what the odds makers are saying. And it even says that on paper. You look at it, we're stacked up pretty much an even matchup between the Lions and the Jaguars. I don't know how we get an underdog being the home team. I think the Lions should be the 1-point favorite like they opened up. But I feel it's going to be a compelling matchup. I want to see what we have. Two teams that's in the middle of a rebuild. So I want to see how we stack up against each other. So we both made some key moves, some off-season moves, got new personnel in. They let go of a receiver. We got him on the Lions. They brought in what I think arguably was the highest overpaid free agent and wide receiver in Christian Kirk. I was like, man, how are you giving this dude who was the third-string receiver on the on the Arizona Cardinals, this big-ass contract? He wasn't the first option. He wasn't the second option. I don't even think he was the third option. But he got that big contract. What it is. But they got the nice rookie over there, Zay Jones. They got, young pass rushers. The interior defensive line isn't that great. If you look at us, kind of built similar as far as, outside. We got nice young talent on the perimeter. I think our running game is better than theirs. ATN is pretty much been out for the last couple of games. And you look at what we're seeing, I think the Lions have a slight advantage in this game. I think our running game is better than the Jaguars. We'll get into game predictions later on, but as far as the matchup is concerned, I think we have a slight edge, especially with the home crowd being in Ford Field. I think we're going to have a slight edge over the Jaguars this game. I'm not predicting a blowout on either side for either team, but I think that it's going to be a tight game, and I think that it's going to come down who wants it more. Who's going to step up and wants it more? We're coming off of a emotional loss to the Bills where we could have won that game and won 3 games prior, and they're coming off an emotional win where they beat the Baltimore Ravens on a 2-point conversion, and a last second missed field goal by Justin Tucker, man. And I was like, damn it, you hit a 66 on us, you should have hit a 67 on them. But right. But it is what it is. So just the matchup itself, what do you guys think about how these teams stack up against each other?
We stack up pretty good. This is like you said, it's a pretty even matchup. Yeah, I mean, all the way across the board, it's a pretty even matchup. It's gonna be who wants it more. Yeah, man, it's gonna be really about the coach's game plan. I think that's what's really gonna set it aside. Is if we come with the game plan like we did in New York at MetLife. We come in that type of plan, that type of execution, because we had the extra couple days because of the Thanksgiving game. So, we need to come in and execute. And if we execute, we should win.
Yeah, I think this is a game that we can win. In the very beginning, this was the game that I was looking forward to. Just because, like you said, we say, two teams in the rebuild. A lot of parallels. I ain't gonna go, all the way into it, but I think that we can win on Sunday. We gotta, even though they don't really, they can't really be had in the run game. Like they're pretty stout, even with their defensive tackles not really being that good, which means their linebackers is pretty good. Which means, well, they've been drafting linebackers. They drafted the linebacker that we could have had or that I wanted. Both of them that I wanted. We could definitely still. I believe that. I'm gonna echo what Coach Mike just said. Similar game plan. I would like to run the ball. Their defense is pretty solid, man. But run the ball, run the simple pass, and play hard on defense and win this game, man. Big home win.
Hey, join us for the rest of the show. If you want to hear the rest of this conversation on the game information, the matchups, how LL and man Coach Jones thinks about this content right here on this first segment, tune into the rest of the show for the full version of today's Lunchtime Detroit Lions Talk, brought to you by Detroit Lions on the Prowl. Yo home for Detroit Lions News Room.